welcome back to the Mid Podcast, everyone. I'm going to need you to grab your dragon saddle, your emotional support sword, and maybe a family tree that's been redacted by several masters, because today I will be diving into House of Dragon Episode 2. Alright, so I'm going to title this podcast Fire, Blood, and Family Therapy That Definitely Won't Work. So, if you're new here, welcome. If you've survived Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and every emotionally devastating Sunday HBO has thrown at us over the last decade, you've earned a seat at the small council. Today's episode is going to be funny, brutally honest, and analytical because that is exactly what the show deserves. We're going to talk about a political chess match, character development, dragons, betrayals, performances, and whatever else I deem necessary, and whether the episode moved forward the story or simply rearranged chairs inside a castle that's about to explode. You'll have no spoilers for future episodes beyond episode 2, so let's get into it. Alright, the episode's biggest strength, everyone is losing differently? One thing House of the Dragon consistently understands is this: nobody's winning. Not politically, not emotionally, certainly not mentally. Every character walks around looking like they haven't slept in 6 months. The brilliance of episodes 2 is that nobody feels like the hero. Everyone believes they're justified. Everyone believes destiny is on my side. Everyone also happens to be making terrible decisions. And that's exactly what George R. Martin's world has always been about. Power doesn't corrupt people, power exposes them. And episode 2 continues to peel away that mask. Political warfare instead of sword fighting. Alright, I'm all for some sword fighting. Swords are really cool. But political warfare? I could take it. So, if you're looking for nonstop dragon battles, wrong episode. If you're looking for political tension so thick you could spread it on toast, welcome home. This episode reminds viewers that Westeros isn't won on battlefields. It is won in council chambers, bedrooms, hallways, whispers, letters, old grudges, tiny insults remembered for 20 years. The conversations are the action scenes. Every pause matters, every glance matters, every silence matters. Now that's some sophisticated storytelling. All right, so let's be honest. These family meetings are less royal council and more Thanksgiving dinner if everyone arrived riding nuclear weapons. Uh, every conversation goes like this. So, how have you been? I've decided to overthrow you. Oh, it's nothing personal. Alrighty, let's talk about the acting in episode 2. This cast deserves awards, not because they're shouting, because they're barely speaking. The best performances happened with eyes, tiny facial movements, micro expressions, the fear, the resentment, the exhaustion. Nobody's overreacting. Everyone understands that power in Westeros comes from restraint. One quiet sentence can be more terrifying than a dragon soaring overhead. Character analysis. So, one of the strongest aspects of this episode is how every major player feels trapped. No one has freedom anymore. Kings can't act freely, queens can't, military commanders can't, dragon riders can't. Everyone serves expectations, tradition, legacy, family, and that's exactly the tragedy. Nobody inherited peace. They inherited impossible responsibilities. So imagine applying for a job in Westeros. What experience do you have? Well, my uncle tried to murder me. Excellent leadership qualities. Also, my cousin rides a dragon. You're hired! Alright, dragons. Main part of the story, right? It is called House of Dragon. Interestingly, the dragons almost become symbols rather than weapons. They're constantly reminding us viewers violence is waiting. Even when they're resting, they're still a threat. It's like parking several nuclear submarines outside your neighbor's house. Sure, nothing's happening yet. The cinematography was absolutely stunning. Every frame looks like expensive artwork. The lighting continues to separate this show from nearly every fantasy series on television. You get warm candlelight, cold stone, shadows, smoke, wide establishing shots. Every castle feels ancient. Every room feels lived in. The production design deserves enormous credit because nothing feels artificial. The score continues to be HBO's greatest traditions. Instead of dominating the scenes with music, it supports emotion. It tells viewers something terrible is coming. Even when characters are quietly talking, the music keeps tension simmering. Dialogue. George R. Martin's influence remains obvious. Nobody speaks like modern people, yet nobody sounds fake. The dialogue feels historical, elegant, threatening, poetic. Even insults, they sound intelligent. Imagine Twitter arguments written by Shakespeare. So you have the average Westeros conversation. I respectfully disagree, and therefore your bloodline must end. Well, that's escalating quickly. Alright, we're going to explore some themes in episode 2. Legacy. So everyone lives under someone else's expectations. Fear. Leaders make terrible choices because they're afraid. Or they're stupid. Pride. No one wants to appear weak. Weakness equals death. And that time period, yeah, it does. And family are perhaps the greatest cautionary tale against family reunions ever written. Alrighty, so this is where opinions will divide my viewers. The pacing of the show. Some people will say nothing happened. I personally tend to disagree. Everything happened. Not physically, psychologically. This episode moves characters forward to inedible conflict, like winding a spring tighter and tighter, and eventually it explodes. So, what could have been better? Uh, Even excellent television, well, it's not perfect. Some supporting characters still need additional development. A few scenes lingered slightly longer than necessary. Occasionally, the dialogue becomes so dense that casual viewers may struggle following every political relationship. This show rewards attention. If you're scrolling your phone while watching, well, you're basically reading every fifth page of a novel. While watching House of the Dragon while distracting is dangerous, you look down for 20 seconds, suddenly someone's married, someone's dead, someone inherited a castle, and someone's riding the dragon you forgot existed. So, why does this episode matter? Well, episode 2 isn't trying to be explosive, it's trying to be inevitable. That's a huge difference. Great tragedies don't rely on surprises, they rely on do you know? Do you want to know? Well, they rely on inevitability. You know a disaster's coming. The characters know the disaster's coming. The audience knows a disaster is coming. Nobody can stop the disaster from coming. Well, that's Shakespeare. That's Greek tragedy. Yeah, and that is George R.R. Martin's work. Well, as season 3 continues demonstrating why House of the Dragon remains one of television's strongest dramas, its confidence is remarkable. It isn't chasing viral moments, wrestling. It's building emotional investment. The acting remains exceptional. Speaking of acting, can we just talk about Matt Smith? Huge fan, huge fan. Loved him as Doctor Who. And it is so funny seeing him play a quirky, witty doctor to becoming. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I don't know. A conniving, evil, head hunting killer? I mean, the man will cut your head off if you look at him wrong. And I, personally, love it. I think, his character is probably my favorite of the show. The visuals remain cinematic. The writing respects the audience. And episode 2 proves once again that some of the most gripping battles happen, well, before you even draw a sword. Not every great episode needs dragons burning armies, people stabbing each other with swords, you cutting off your enemy's head and placing it somewhere so everybody can see it. Sometimes, well, you just need brilliant actors sitting around a table quietly deciding who might burn the armies later. So, we're going to do something different today. We're going to give final ratings. For the story, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10 for its excellent political storytelling. The acting, spot on, 10 out of 10, of course. Some of the finest ensemble performances currently on television. Visuals, yes, a 10 out of 10. This movie quality production is from beginning to end. The music, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's subtle, emotional, and perfectly integrated into the show. The pacing, you get a 9 out of 10. It's deliberate and rewarding, though slower than some viewers may expect. So, overall, episode 2 will get a 9.6 out of 10. The episode wasn't designed to overwhelm you with spectacle. It was designed to tighten the noose around every character, and by the end, you can feel the weight of every decision of every character. And so, that is my quick review of House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 2. Please, let me know. Did the episode work for you? Were you hoping for more dragons and fewer tense conversations? Which performance stood out the most? Which decisions do you think will have the biggest consequences in the episodes ahead? And if you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with a fellow fan of Westeros. And also, you can get this on all your podcast platforms. We'll be back after the next episode to see who made the smartest move, who made the biggest mistake, and whether anyone in House of Targaryen has finally discovered the revolutionary concept of solving problems without fire and blood. Probably not, but we'll have to wait and see. So, until next time, please keep your dragons fed, keep your alliances flexible, and never trust a peaceful family dinner in Westeros. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time for our next episode.